G'day. Do you know what fragrances the F1 drivers prefer? Well, I do. And why have I chosen to do a video on this? Well, it all came about because one of my followers sent me a note saying, what does Lando Norris smell like? That's a bizarre question. Then I thought, well, there might be a video in this as to which fragrances they wear. And in 8 seconds time, I'll tell you exactly what each one of them wears. First up, I had to catch every single driver and ask them the question. Now that's not easy because you can't do it when there's other media around, so I had to wait for quiet moments. And sometimes that would be late in the day or even as late as the last race. In Barcelona, I managed to catch Max Verstappen in the car park with no one else around. So I could ask him what he wore and his answer was Bulgari. Now they make quite a number of fragrances. He couldn't pin down the exact one, but I have a fair bit of Bulgari, mainly because the Emirates first and business class kits contain this fragrance. So I collect them when I travel, and this is one of the more generous offerings offered by airlines. Next up, this man, Kevin Magnussen. He told me he wears man sweat. Yes, man sweat. But he only told me that after he admitted he doesn't wear aftershave. If he did wear aftershave though, he said it would be Man Sweat by Kevin. Perhaps if he released his own fragrance, it would look like this. You never know. Having spoken to US driver Logan Sargent, I can confirm that he does not wear man sweat. Instead, he's keen on a couple of Dolce & Gabbana scents. One is one, and 100 ml of this goes for about 70 euros. But he also likes D&G King, which is slightly cheaper, at 60 euros. Yuki Tsunoda, well, I thought he might wear Issey Miyake because it's a prominent Japanese brand. But when I asked him, he said he doesn't have any aftershaves. But the AlphaTauri social media content creator, Josh Cruz, then prompted him saying, you do, you have a Chanel. But it didn't ring a bell with Yuki, so I'm going to put him down as no fragrance. Now, Lando Norris is a fragrance guy. He was pretty upfront saying there were two that he likes. The first one is this one by Dior. I can see certain parallels between Lando and Johnny Depp, who's the brand ambassador for this fragrance. This is a bit pricier than the previously mentioned fragrances, goes for 169 euros, and he also offered up a Tom Ford scent, Ombre Leather. This is 140 euros. Now I've priced all of these on a standard 100ml bottle. Now Tom Ford scents are normally quite bold and thick, and there are two other drivers who do wear Tom Ford, and I'll get to those a little later on. Now I can't tell you what scent Sir Jackie Stewart wears, but I can tell you that you can grab yourself a hand-signed and numbered print of the great man who has, without a doubt, the most spectacular autograph of any F1 driver. Now at the time of recording this video, there are still some available. You can head to the shop and grab your favourite number there if it's still available. And remember, you get a digital image of Sir Jackie signing your print as irrefutable proof of authenticity. Now what about trendy dresser Zhou Guanyu? I figured he, being so much into fashion, would also like fragrances, but he said no, he couldn't think of a scent that he bought. But as we finished chatting, he said, look, if I had one, it would be a Dior, and that's because he has a deal with Dior. He's an ambassador for that company. Next up, George Russell, and does he have a favourite? Yes, he does. It's a Tom Ford scent. It was given to him by his mother. But which one exactly? Because Tom Ford makes a huge range of scents. Well, he wasn't quite sure, but he did say it had a gold top on the bottle, so I'm figuring perhaps this is it. Next up, classy debonair Charles Leclerc. He's a Louis Vuitton fan. Now, once again, Louis Vuitton makes a huge range of fragrances, and they are priced at the top end. He couldn't recollect exactly which one he had, but it was no doubt one of these. And price-wise, well, these are at the top end. This one here is over 300 euros. This man, Mexican driver Sergio Perez, is another who says he doesn't wear aftershave or cologne. Next up, Esteban Ocon. Does he wear a French fragrance, being a French driver? No, he uses none. He says he smells naturally fresh and doesn't need them. Carlos Sainz is next. He's a Givenchy man. He couldn't narrow down the exact scent, but I figure he could be a gentleman society wearer, as this fragrance redefines the gentleman with its masculine fragrance. A bold statement for men who reinvent their own rules and always act for better. Just a bit of bullshit marketing blurb there. Alfa Romeo driver Valtteri Bottas, I asked him, and he said he would wear, if anything, Eau de VB. I thought he was taking the mickey out of me, but there's an actual VB fragrance. VB's an Australian beer that's mighty popular, and this fragrance is tied to it. It even comes in a beer bottle shaped bottle. Valtteri has a connection with VB, obviously, given his initials, and the description is apt. For hard-working Australians, well, he's almost an Australian, infused with VB's very own hop extract, a refreshing combination of bitter citrus and icy aromas with a sweet hoppy accent to finish. In other words, it smells great, as does Valtteri. And this is the cheapest fragrance of the lot, €41. Pierre Gasly, is he a French fragrance man? No, he says he doesn't wear them. Well, I take issue with that because I was in a car with Pierre going back to Miami last year before the race weekend, and we were going to a function that I was shooting. And he smelt magnificent. I couldn't tell you which fragrance, so I know he has worn fragrance, but he can't recollect wearing them. Oscar Piastri, well, he's a Hugo Boss fan, and they make plenty of fragrances. I've picked him as a bottled tonic wearer. Why? Well, I think the promo blurb fits him nicely, embodies the essence of those unique moments of clarity that grant you the tranquility and fortitude to reorganize your thoughts and start again. What a load of rubbish. I chatted briefly with Lance Stroll in the paddock in Baku and asked him the question about his fragrances. He says, nah, don't wear them. And as he walked away, he turned back at me and said, actually, Gillette, obviously referring to the shaving products. Dutch driver Nick de Vries likes Yves Saint Laurent. And which fragrance? He likes Y. Moderately priced, about €77. Nico Hulkenberg does, and he's listed a couple for me. First one is Creed, sells for around €220 a bottle. He also mentioned a Chanel fragrance, the sporty one, he said, which I figure could be this one, and it retails for €142. Now, I mentioned Issey Miyake earlier on relating to Yuki Tsunoda. There is one driver who is a fan of Issey Miyake, and that's Alex Albon. He wears one of his scents. Now, they do make a range of fragrances, but I think this one hits the mark. A fresh, vibrant and elegant eau de toilette. A timeless fragrance with a very masculine signature when vibrating freshness of yuzu meets sandalwood. Yep, that's Alex Albon. Just 2 to go now, and I'll go to Fernando Alonso, who responded he wears whatever he has with him. Couldn't recollect any particular brand. And the final driver is Lewis Hamilton, and I thought Lewis might be the trickiest driver to get an answer from, but I managed to find him and his security guard on his own. In the paddock on Friday night at the Azerbaijan GP, he was walking to the driver's briefing, and we spent about a minute talking about fragrances, and I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that he likes Tom Ford, and in particular, Tuscan Leather, a fragrance that's at the upper end of the price range here, around €300, and many of Tom's fragrances are unisex. This one here has base notes of leather, suede, woody notes, and amber. And for those of you interested in what I like at the moment, I like 34 by Diptyque. And I get these small bottles, and I get quite a few of them each year for free. Well, when I say free, they're handed out in the amenities kits on Qatar Airlines. And when I fly Qatar, I'll often ask the cabin crew if they've got any spare amenities kits. So I could end up with 3 or 4 of these from one flight, because it's pretty expensive stuff. But this is my last one, and I have no more Qatar flights on the radar. And before I go, I'll remind you to get those signed driver prints at kimillman.com. That new Jackie Stewart print has just dropped. You'll also find there merchandise, F1 photo books, and wall art. You'll find all of my digital images at prostarpics.com. And I notice some of you haven't yet pressed the like button on this video. Appreciate it if you did that now, helps with the algorithm, and become a member. And yes, I'm on Instagram, nearly 400,000 followers, and I post live from the track and during the week. You'll find me at Kim Illman there. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Oh, f*** off. Now the light's gone.